Now, the next step I want you to do is to come back into Ads Manager, come back to this point where you're able to create the different ad sets and define the audience. Doesn't matter what you do on the previous screen where you're picking your goal, whether it's website conversions, whatever. You can just use those like you've been using. Remember, you can go back and cancel this, you can change this, whatever. But what you want to do is now you're going to set up more custom audiences. In the previous lesson, I had you create those custom audiences. So based on your customer data and lists, if you have those, obviously, if you had a new business, you don't have those customer lists. If you have a new business, you're not going to have this step either. But if you have an existing business, you're going to want to do this. And as soon as you have this data, if you're in a new business right now, then you want to come back and do these steps. So the next step here is we've created first the custom audiences with our customers. Now we want to do it with our leads, with our opt-ins. So again, create new custom audience. Click this. You want to do it from a customer file. And then you want to upload a file. So you're going to do a text file or CSV file with just email addresses. So you want to take all your opt-ins and you want to upload them here and call it opt-in list. So it's going to be all your opt-ins. So that's the first step. You're going to do all your opt-ins. Okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your customer email addresses and you're going to remove them from the opt-in list. So you're going to end up with a second opt-in list, but it will be a bit smaller than the main one because it won't have any of your buyers in it. It's just your opt-ins. So then you're going to upload that one separately. So you've just created two custom audiences. You've created all of your opt-ins, and then you've created one which is all of your opt-ins minus your buyers. So your buyers come out of there. Now, there are other ways you can exclude when you go to use these custom audiences where we could have connected the one opt-in list by excluding the other customers that we set up because we created the customer custom audiences. But don't worry about that. We're going to create these separate. More data is better, like I said. So we'll have two opt-in lists. Now, if you have different segments of your business where, let's say, you had people register for a webinar and you were doing a webinar model for a while, or maybe you still do it in your business for certain types of your products, but you do webinar registrations and you collect email addresses, of course, when they register, and those are opt-ins using a webinar. Well, you'd want to take all the ones that registered from the webinar and then create another custom audience that's opt-ins for webinar. And then if you have customers out of those, you'd remove those out of there and just have it webinar opt-ins minus customers. So you'd end up with two more custom audiences: webinar opt-ins minus customers. So then if you have any other opt-in mechanisms, like let's say you do a squeeze page where you give away a special report or a checklist or something, and you build opt-ins that way, as well as with the webinar model, well, you'd want to create custom audiences for those as well. So then you would do all the opt-ins from the report giveaway, and you would make two as well. One with all the opt-ins, one without the customers. So in the different segments of your business where you're collecting leads, let's say you ask people to fill out a thing to get a free quote, or let's say they submit an intro questionnaire or something. Maybe it's related to your business selling coaching services or something, but they don't have to pay for that. It's free, but it's a way that you are generating leads. You're getting them to fill out a questionnaire. Well, create another custom audience just for the people that filled out the questionnaire, if that's how you build leads that way. If you have it separately where you do stuff with a webinar, also with a special report and a software trial, whatever. For each of the different types of leads that you generate in different ways, you want to have a different custom audience for each, because those are different types of people. And those are different ways that you got them to opt in and that you built the lead. So again, more data is better. You may just end up do some marketing and audience targeting, depending, of course, how big these lists of leads are, based on just all opt-ins. All opt-ins including all the people you ever got from webinars and free trials and questionnaires and surveys and everything, right? But it's great if we can also have all the separate lists, because if we get a few thousand on each one, or we get enough data on each one, and we get enough to match up with Facebook, we can run some interesting tests on retargeting things. And of course, we're going to cover all this when we get to retargeting. Most of what we're talking about here, of course, with these custom audiences of these existing lists, this is going to be for retargeting efforts I'm going to cover in the next module. But I still want you to set this up initially for just in this main Facebook ads intro, because one of the things you will want to do, of course, that has nothing to do with retargeting, it's just running ads to an audience, is to exclude your customers or to exclude your opt-ins if you're building opt-ins. You may not want to run ads to those people, and so the only way you can exclude them is if you have a custom audience created. And that's the power of custom audiences. I mean, this stuff is awesome. From a marketing standpoint, this stuff is so powerful once you learn how to use it in different ways. And it's just really incredible. So creating these lists and being able to match them up and to be able to hopefully match some of those to actual Facebook accounts and then include or exclude those in audiences we choose to run ads to puts us in a lot of control to be able to do some very, very neat things. So that's the second step I want you to do here as far as creating custom audiences, is to create them for your opt-ins. In the previous lesson, we did them for your customers and customer segments. Now we're doing them for your opt-ins and your different types of opt-ins that you may or may not have. So you want to come in here and set up those custom audiences.